What is up, ladies, maybe, and gentlemen? Devon here, and we have a lot to cover in this episode. I'm sure you can tell by the lineup that things have changed a bit in Texas and by the record. Um, yeah, I think we went like 40 and like 60. Or, I don't know, dude. We were absolutely god awful ever since the last episode, and I mean, I pretty much knew that was going to happen, so no harm, no foul. But we definitely made some moves. We made some changes. Right now we're sitting right outside of free agency, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's jump into how the prospects did. The new faces in Texas, the new additions, some guys that left. There's just a lot to get into here. So I can't remember where I was. I was about right here. Yeah, so anyways, I kept all of the like important things that I wanted to share with you guys in the messages, that way I wouldn't forget. Um so yeah. Where's that? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the trade that we made. It was right after the last episode. I knew that I was going to trade Asdrubal at some point because he was having a very good year and he was drawing some interest. I made a few calls around the league, but the Rays had the most interest, and he has formerly played for the Rays in his past. It was in 2015. He played pretty well for them. Had a 2.5-1 season. Went to the Mets. Spent 2 years there. Played really well there actually, and then went to the Phillies. Wasn't as good. Then came here. Had a really good first half. Got traded to Tampa Bay, and wasn't that good. So it looks like we kind of dodged a bullet there and got rid of him at the right time. Or maybe he just didn't like going back to Tampa Bay. I don't know. But we traded Asdrubal Cabrera for Christian Arroyo. Christian Arroyo is probably going to be our starting third baseman going forward this year. There are a few names in free agency that I was looking at spending some big money on, like not Arenado. Fuck, what's his name? Anthony Rendon. Anthony Rendon is looking for a fairly realistic contract. Like, it's not too bad. Usually in the game, if you're like a budding superstar, like, they will ask for like 35, and then you have to wait it out for a bit. But it seems like this year they've kind of fixed that a bit, so that's good. So he's looking for a pretty good contract. The thing is, if we sign Anthony Rendon, we are kind of like locking in that we're gonna start turning over a new leaf, and we're gonna try to start winning in 2020. And that's not really what I want to do. Plus, on top of that, and the main thing is, for me at least, that we lose our first round pick next year, and we were pretty bad this year, so it's going to be like a 7, 8, 9 pick. I don't know, I haven't checked yet. And I really want that pick. I would rather have another top 10 prospect in our farm than get Anthony Rendon. And then next year we're going to have a lot of money with some guys coming off the books, as you'll see. We'll discuss that later. As well as Christian Arroyo, who I like. We got Nick Solak, another middle infielder. Can play just about anywhere, though. Decently athletic. Plays pretty good defense. He's a toolbox. And he's pretty good at the plate as well. Last year in the majors in limited time, he hit 319 with a 418 OBP. And in our AAA system, he hit 321 with a 389 OBP. So it's looking like he is taking the move the change of scenery very, very well. So that's good to see. I'm excited about Nick Solak. Jalen Beeks is another guy that I was really excited about. He was a guy that was going to slot right into the major league system with Christian Arroyo. He was going to be a guy that was going to be important in our pen going forward. But as you can see, he only threw 6 innings, and he was very effective in those 6 innings. But unfortunately, it's not on there. I'll go over here. Yeah, he tore his labrum, and he was about to come back. It was only like a 8-month type thing, and he was progressing well. And then he had a setback, I guess, in bullpen sessions, and re-tore it and has to have surgery again. So that's not looking good. I doubt he's the same guy coming back. And that's unfortunate because he was a guy that I was really, really looking forward to having in the pen because he holds a lot of value to this club, maybe more than other clubs around the league, because he is a lefty for one. Number two, he can eat up some innings. He can be a follower if needed. He can open some ball games now that that's a thing. And he has a really good changeup, and above league average fastball. So he was going to be good for us. And, unfortunately, he tore his labrum. Maybe he'll come back. And, you see it sometimes. The guys come back with a vengeance. And, maybe that's him. I'm hoping that's him. But we're going to try to stay optimistic about Jalen. But it's just really unfortunate that he tore his labrum there. So where was it? There. And we also got Travis Ott, another lefty. He's about a year away though. Well, he was a year away when we got him. I keep forgetting that was like almost a year ago. But now that we're sitting in the off season, he did get the September call up and he pitched fairly well. 3.58 for a specialist. I mean, that's not bad at all. So he probably will open the year next year with the club. Again, he's a guy that can eat some innings if need be, go 2 1/3, maybe 3 innings if we're trying to push it. A guy that can come in and get some outs for us. So that's really, really good. We need that walks per 9 to go down, though, especially for like a specialist. We need him to paint the zone. We need him to be efficient. We can't have him out there walking people and putting our bullpen in a tough situation. So I'm excited for him. He's a side armor. Like I said, he can eat some innings for us if need be. If he keeps a low pitch count, he can go 3. Not very good at holding runners and not very good hitting the strike zone, but everything else he looks like a very good pitcher, and he's a lefty, so that's important, especially with Jalen Beeks getting hurt. So Edwin Encarnacion hit number 400, so that's good for him. The player of the week in the AL went to Nomar Mazara at some point in the year. Looks like June 24th. He had a very, very, very good season. He finally had that season that I knew he had in him. Obviously, he's never going to be a high WAR guy because he's not very good defensively and he's not very good on the base pass. But for him to be a 2.2 win player with just only the bat, he had a good year. He hit 280, 343, had over 800 OPS. The strikeouts were up a bit, but it's manageable. Had the most walks in his career so far. Actually, I lied. That was 2017. Didn't crack 100 RBI, but he wasn't hitting in the cleanup or anything like that. And we didn't get a lot of guys on for him. He did hit 25 homers, the most in his career, so that's great. Had the most doubles ever in his career. had the most hits ever in his career, scored the most runs ever in his career. So he had a big year, and I'm excited going forward. We're going to try to lock Nomar Mazara up. We're going to try to build around him. I know that not a lot of Rangers fans like him anymore, as they had, or I should say we had such high hopes for him, coming up, and he was so hot when he came up, and then he kind of sizzled out. But I really like Nomar. He just had his breakout season. I know he's got more in there. He's only 24, so he's a good locker room guy as well. He's not very diverse, which kind of hurts him, but we're going to try to build around him. And I think that's the best thing to do. I mean, he's a very, very good player. I knew he had it in him. That's what I was going to do. I forgot. If you take a look at his spray chart, obviously he's a pull guy. But look at that. He actually pulled or went oppo twice for homers. Went oppo quite a few times for singles and doubles. So he did change up his approach a bit this year, and you love to see that. Even put a few in the left center gap. Obviously, most of his homers are going to be pull side. He did go center field a few times, but it's good to see him changing up his approach. Now, if we go look at a guy like Gallo, his spray chart, I'm sure that you will see the staggering difference. Yeah, I mean, the only time he went oppo was for singles. Most, if not all of these, are either to center or pull side. He actually did go oppo a few times for homers. I thought this was going to be way more decisive than it is, but yeah, he's obviously much more pull heavy. So I'm really happy to see Nomar transitioning into the guy that everybody thought he would be. Hit number 2,000 for Ian Kinsler, former Ranger. I'm really happy for him. I loved Ian Kinsler when he was here. He spent 8 or 9 years here. Was excellent for us. Was a big part of those pennant teams. And Anderson Tejada was his league's best player for a month. He did have an excellent year, as you guys can see. He had the most at-bats of his career. Hit 23 bombs, had over 100 RBIs, hit 270, had a 332 OBP, was almost a 4-win player. Just a really, really good year for Anderson Tejada, which is why he jumps up to Double-A. And he will be joined by Bubba Thompson, Leody Tavares, and company. So hopefully Frisco gets a big jump in ticket sales, brings in some money. Hopefully they play well. And this was the All-Star game. There wasn't really many new faces. There's that catcher that everybody loves in Minnesota that runs really fast for a fat boy. Really nobody else. Eloy made his All-Star game his first year. Cedric Mullins was an All-Star. That's not surprising, but it's good to see that. Ian Hamilton from the White Sox, not only was he an All-Star in his first full year, he also won Reliever of the Year, so that's big for him. Made a huge jump. And NL-wise, Eduardo Escobar had an excellent year. Yasiel Puig was also excellent. He's a free agent. Harrison Bader had a very, very good year. Hit 25 bombs. Who else? Hector Neris had a very good year. And John Brevia. Pablo Lopez from the Marlins had a very good year. So, yeah, pretty much a lot of common faces you see there, but a few new faces. That was a trade. I don't know why I saved that. Emmanuel Clase, he had a very good year down in Hickory. Definitely going to get the move up to AA. He will be the AA closer, so looks like Frisco is going to have a very, very good team next year. So excited about that. He might be the future closer. You never know. He does have the closer type swag. I'm in a Rangers group chat on Twitter, and you know, it's not like that I don't know these guys, but they talk about them a lot. So like Emmanuel Clase was not a guy that you know I watch a lot of film on, or you typically see a lot. But they were talking about him the other day, and I went to go watch him, and he's pretty fucking good. He has great stuff, and he has a little bit of swag to him, which you always like to see. Leodis Tavares, speaking of, turned 21 this year and really had a good year offensively. Hit 260, which isn't going to blow your doors off or anything, but he had 350 OBP, and that just about makes me wet. He's never going to be an 800 OPS guy because he doesn't have the pop, but he was a 3.2 win player. Obviously great defensively, obviously great on the base pass, so that plays into it, but just had a really good year. The triples were down, but the doubles were up. Also hit the most homers ever in his career, which is great to see. And he, even with all this said, he had the most WAR in his career. He got hurt for a while. As you can see, he only played in 107 games, so missed like 3 weeks of baseball and still broke out. So he gets the call up to AA with Bubba Thompson, and I'm excited about him. I knew that he was a good player. Just needed to see it. Kenley Jansen gets his 300 save and did have one of the best years ever by a reliever. Had a .82 ERA, had 41 saves, was just really, really good, as he did win reliever of the year for the first time in his career, or the first time that it says on here. I think he did win it previously, but LA signs Kimbrel, so their pen is scary. 3 years, 31.5. I don't think anybody else was going to give him that. Zach Greinke gets his 200th win. Chase Darno hit 3 bombs for us. And ironically, we're not going to re-sign him. We just don't really have a place for him. He is a good player. I feel bad for him because he's moved around so much in his career. But even last year when we kind of needed him, he didn't get over 200 at bats. He only hit 224. I mean, he was a decent player for us. He filled a lot of holes when we needed it. But we have a lot of young guys that are starting to get ready and that we could call up. So, yeah, I mean, we just really didn't need to shell out $1 million to a guy like him. Player development, I love those. Love seeing my guys develop. Jose Trevino made a big step this year. He'll probably be the backup catcher next year. Jeff Mathis did have a solid year, but after picking up Austin Hedges, I just can't start Jeff Mathis over Austin Hedges with a straight face. And Jose Trevino is excellent defensively, just a step behind Jeff Mathis, and the bat is just so much better. Not that it's great by any means, but it's so much better than Jeff Mathis. So he will be the backup catcher going forward, as he did have a pretty damn good year in AAA, and started in 12 games for us last year at the major league level and played even better. So he did earn that right. He is 26, almost 27, so he deserves a chance at this point in his career. Was a guy that was bit by the injury bug in his career so far, but he put together a full season last year, and I'm happy for him. What that means for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I don't know. Maybe he'll get some time at second and third. He is better defensively over there. I don't know. Last year he was good for us. He was a 1.4 win player and really didn't get that many at bats. So we're gonna find a way to put him in there. He's definitely gonna get at bats next year. We just gotta see how. I love that guy. Eli White did get a lot of time last year. Only hit 230, but he was called up a bit prematurely. We were just hurt. Elvis Andrews got hurt. So we really didn't have anyone else that could plug in and be good defensively at a premium position, shortstop. So we called up Eli White, and he really didn't play that bad. He didn't play great, but like I said, he wasn't really ready for the major league level. I mean, he went straight from Double-A to the majors. So I think this year he'll start off in Triple-A. Who else? Yeah, Nick Solak. I've already talked about him. The guy that really broke out for us this year is Willie Calhoun. So that means the end of Shin-Soo Choo. You won't be seeing him anymore. This is the last year on his contract. So Willie Calhoun is our new DH. Last year played in half the games, had 18 bombs, 53 ribbies, had a 370 OBP. Like I said, played in half the games as a DH. Remember that, and had a 2.2 WAR season. So that is huge. That is huge. I'm excited for Willie. As you can see, he's not going to strike out. He has pop, and he can plug it in the gap if need be. He's not going to take a lot of walks, but he really transformed himself. I'm proud of him. Brock Burke also had a good year for us. The numbers really don't show that, but he was in a few games that he gave up a ton of runs, like versus New York, versus Baltimore, and those really like shit on his ERA. But he will be at the back of the rotation next year. He really showed himself to be, worthy of that. He was in Double-A for a while, just killing it, and then he pretty much forced my hand to call him up after a bit of injuries, but yeah, I'm happy for him. Got him from the Rays in that trade. Mendez is continuing to improve. Not quite ready, major league ready. And didn't have a great year last year in Double-A. So he'll probably start out the year in Triple-A, see what he can do. If he can't, then we'll move him back down to Double-A. We did re-sign him, though. I'm just not ready to give up on him yet. Zach Granite did improve. Had a really good year last year in Triple-A, so he's another option with Tachi, Delino. So we have a lot of center field options. And Jonathan Hernandez improved last year. He wasn't blowing the doors off last year in Double-A, so he'll probably start the year out in Double-A. Hopefully he plays really well and we can move him up to Triple-A. But he did improve a lot skill-wise, so that's what's most important. Right now he only has 2 elite pitches and does walk quite a few guys. Even though the walk rates were down a ton last year, he only walked 2.5 per 9. But you'd still like to see that number down as a starter. Taylor Hearn, a guy that Ranger fans are so excited about. I just don't see it. I think he's more of a bullpen piece, if anything. Really only has 1 pitch. And wasn't good in Triple-A. Wasn't good in Double-A. So, he'll probably open the year in Triple-A next year. We'll see, I guess. But Taylor Hearn is not a guy that I expect to be at the major league level at any point. Hans Kraus improved a ton last year. Had a really good year in A-ball. So he will be getting the call to a high A-ball. He's only 21 years old. He's a young 21 as well. So I'm excited. He's developing really nicely, which is good. And yeah, that's about it in terms of improvements. Kyle Tucker wins the AL batting title in his rookie year, so that's not good to see. Houston hits big on another young guy. He had a 6.4 season in his rookie year. It's annoying. Daniel Murphy wins the NL batting title playing in Colorado. Had one of his best years of his career, so that's good. The Red Sox did win the World Series again. Xander Bogaerts is a free agent. They are losing a few guys. Sean Kelly we're not bringing back after his 5.40 ERA. Wasn't really that good for us this year. I mean, did have hot streaks where he was setting up games for Leclerc pretty efficiently, but we won't be bringing him back. Elvis Andrus did execute his option year. He did have a big year, but he got hurt, so maybe the free agent value wasn't there. So I mean, I'm not gonna say it's disappointing because I love Elvis. It's just like now we're kind of stuck with him for 3 more years. So I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I was kind of looking forward to moving forward with Eli White and company, but we have Elvis, so that's not bad. I like Elvis, like I said. Edinson Volquez did retire. He retired as a Red, which is interesting, but he actually got off to a good start in his first start with us and then tore his labrum. So yeah, after tearing your labrum again, I think for the 3rd time in his career, he called it quits. Our rotation probably would have been better with him, but yeah, Patrick Wisdom had a very good year last year in AAA. Was a 3.2 win player in 125 games. The power numbers were really there. So he probably starts the year out in the majors. Maybe he gets the start at 3rd over Christian Arroyo, or we'll just have to see. But yeah, he's 28, so it's not like he's like a building block or anything. But when you have a 390 OBP, I mean, that really just jumps out at me. His OPS was over 900, so you can't just ignore something like that, even if it was in AAA. So he will be starting the year out in the majors, which is why he was signed to a major league contract. And these are your AL Gold Glovers. I won't really go over that because there's not any new names other than Danny Jensen. I'm happy for him. In the NL, you got Harrison Bader, Ronald Acuna, and a lot of familiar faces. Like I said, Ian Hamilton won the reliever of the year. Kenley Jansen, the NL. These are your AL Silver Sluggers. Luke Voigt being really only the new face. And then NL, Zach Greinke. Adam Frazier's a new guy. Corey Seager comes back with a vengeance. He did tear his hamstring, though. Unfortunate. Juan Soto had a really big year in his second year. Really, I'm not going to say broke out because his rookie year he had a really good year, but was almost a 6-win player, so. This is where we got Austin Hedges. We got him for a no-name prospect. And the reason why they were so open to dealing Austin Hedges, and this, goes into paying attention around the league, seeing what situations other teams are in. Francisco Mejia actually was 2nd in the league in NL Rookie of the Year voting. So obviously they're a bit open to moving Austin Hedges, and we get a guy that's very, very, very good defensively, one of the best in the league defensively, and is a major upgrade from Jeff Mathis. I mean, that's not saying anything, but yeah. And he's also a good locker room guy, as you guys can see here. So just a really win-win trade, as we didn't give up anything at all for him. And, we get a major upgrade from Jeff Mathis and Jose Trevino. The players appreciate the move. Tucker wins AL Rookie of the Year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was third. He did have a really good year. The power numbers weren't staggering, but he hit nearly 300 with 376 OBP in his rookie year. He was a 4-win player. So the kid's the real deal. He's only 20 years old. And Victor Robles is your NL Rookie of the Year. He looks like the real deal as well. And there you see Francisco Mejia was the second guy in the voting. And when I saw that, I instantly thought of Austin Hedges. What is his situation like? Made a call and got the deal done pretty quickly. Pete Alonso, third. He hit 28 bombs. Very impressive. 3-win player. And this is the trade. This is who we gave up for Austin Hedges. As you can see, pretty much a nobody. Don't expect him to ever hit the majors. So yeah, I'm happy about that. This is where Jalen Beeks tore his labrum again. Unfortunate. AL Cy Young goes to Sale. Scherzer wins the NL. Not surprising at all there. You do see German Marquez down there, though. Had a very good year. Alex Colomé was actually in the voting. Shane Bieber, a name that hasn't come up yet. He had a very good year, and he's progressed very nicely. Was a All-Star last year. Was 15-4 with a 3.34. Over 207 innings pitched. Very good. His home runs per 9 and walks per 9 were league leading. So just a breakout year for Shane Bieber, and another quality starter in that Cleveland organization. Mookie Betts wins the AL MVP. That's back-to-back years for Mookie. And Freddie Freeman finally gets on the board as an MVP. He's always been an MVP talent. Gold Glover. Obviously great with the bat. Great in the locker room. Played in 162 games this year. Finally healthy a whole year and was almost an 8-win player, so I'm very happy for Freddie. David Dahl, second in the voting. He had a breakout year. Hit over 300, 348 OBP. The slugging was best in the league. Had a 6.6 win season. Hit over 40 bombs with a league-leading RBI total and led the league in hits. So David Dahl broke out. We've all known that David Dahl was a big talent, but Chris Martin will be making $3.1 million this year. He had a very good year for us, and we are short on bullpen staff. So welcome back, C-Mart. Delino gets paid a bit. This is Delino's last chance with us. He's not a great locker room guy. He has declined defensively. He's not great at the plate, but there's talent in there. I know that he has talent. I just need to see it again. We saw it his rookie year when he was drafted in the Rule 5, but haven't really seen it since. Matt Bush gets arbitration, $600K. That's nothing. Had a decent year with us last year, nothing crazy. So we will bring him back. Joey Gallo gets $3 million. He did not have a great season. Joey Gallo is on that list where he needs to produce, and it needs to be fast because he hit under the Mendoza line last year. His OBP was down, and for a guy like him, for his OPS to be 750, we need to have a talk. He didn't even hit 40 bombs. I know that sounds crazy, but look at his other numbers. Anthony Rendon, a guy that I was thinking about targeting, throwing the bag at him. I don't think that we will do that. I wish he hit free agency next year. If he did, he would be in a Rangers uniform going forward. But it looks like he will be somewhere else. He's 29. There are a few interesting international free agents, and we will get into that. And yeah. So let's look at the guys that I was targeting or thinking about targeting in free agency. I know this video is getting a bit long, but there was a lot of stuff to talk about as we did skip the rest of the season from the first-year player draft. And these are the guys that I'm really looking at. Two of them being kind of short-term options, cheap deals, and then two of them being maybe like longer-term. Michael Walker, maybe not so much longer-term, but he's a guy that's from Texas. He's from Texarkana, can eat innings. Obviously, all of you guys know what Michael Walker can do for a team. Last year did not have a very good year, so he will be on the cheap. So I think I am going to pick up Michael Walker. Jacob Arizzi, another interesting name. Had a better year last year, threw 214 innings. You'd love to see that. Is a really good locker room guy. So Jacob Arizzi is another interesting name. Steven Matz is a guy that came up, set the league on fire, and then came back down to earth in 2017. 2018, he did have a better year, 397. I mean, that's not god awful, but last year he did get hurt, like most of his career, and had a 4.57 and 15 starts. So he's maybe a guy that we get on the low, and then maybe try to flip if he has a good year, because he's still 28, right? The talent's still there. He's just gotten hurt a whole bunch, and maybe he needed that change of scenery out of New York. Maybe that was a distraction, as he is from New York. But maybe he needed that. Maybe he needed to get out. So I don't know. We'll probably pick him up. I don't know. And Anthony Rendon was just a guy that is on there, but I wasn't really seriously considering, because we do lose that draft pick. Let's go ahead and look at the guys that we have offered. This is the guy that I'm really excited about. He's from South Korea. He's a lefty, throws 100 plus. A guy that can even get you 2, maybe 3 innings. He's 26. There's another guy in the international class who's 31 from Cuba. Has a bit of the same stuff as this guy, but obviously in the current situation that we're in, we're gonna go for the guy that's younger. He is a young 26 as well, so we have offered him a pretty juicy 6-year contract for a reliever. 6 years, $50 million. But if you see his stuff, it looks like he may even challenge for the closer position. He's an extremely hard worker. Just a guy that would come in instantly and fill a big hole. And he is young, so he will be going into the contending teams. There's a shortstop prospect out of Japan who looks pretty good. We're getting him on the cheap if we get him. Will be like a $2 million signing. Looks like a guy that's decent at the plate, but he's extremely athletic. Can play a whole plethora of positions. Has a great personality. Very smart guy. So maybe getting 2 Asians on the team. And then we were picking up Oscar De La Cruz, just a guy that right now will be minor league depth. He was a former top prospect of the Cubs, got hurt a bit, and they let him go. Eddie Beltre is another guy that will be getting on the cheap. It looks like a decent righty bullpen piece, which we need badly. Probably starts the year out in AAA. Maybe makes the team out of spring training. I don't know. It depends. So we'll see. Ryan Presley is a guy that probably going to pick up. In real life, Houston just signed him to a pretty big contract. But the thing is, it was after this game came out, so obviously the contract isn't going to be there. And it's too late to put him back on the Astros and give him his real contract. So, I mean, it's either, we sign him or we let somebody else sign him, probably not the Astros. So, I mean, either way, it's kind of an L, but we need a righty, and Ryan Presley is one of the best in this draft or in this free agent class. Had a very, very good year last year, and it won't be expensive at all getting him. 6.5 over 2 years, that's not bad at all for him. And as you can see, we have over $20 million to spend this year, and that's including all of these contracts that have been offered. But next year we get close to $60 million to spend, and that's because Chu is coming off the books and company. So next year is the year, I'm telling you. And I'm excited. So next episode, you'll see me, I think right before spring training, and we'll introduce all the new faces that have signed. We'll show all of the faces like Anthony Rendon, Steven Strasburg, Josh Donaldson, etc. What teams they went to, and yeah, I mean, we're turning over that new leaf. Last year we started off hot, ended about how I thought we would. This year I expect much of the same. We might be a little bit improved, but I don't think we will be a 500 team or challenging for a wild card or anything like that, especially in a stacked AL. But 2021, we will be strong. Next year's free agent class will be huge, and we will pick up some guys to fill some dire holes for us, especially in the rotation. So yeah, I'm excited and hope you guys are excited. This is that guy I was talking about that's from Cuba. Obviously he looks excellent, but he's 31 years old and he's about to be 32, so not a guy that we would be seriously considering going forward. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am. I'm really having fun. But yeah, this series just has that feel that it's gonna go a while. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I don't see myself getting bored at anytime soon, and things are going according to plan so far, which is always good. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, we'll see you guys right before spring training. Peace.